न्यूज यू कैन यूज के इस नए एपिसोड में आप सबका हार्दिक स्वागत है। मैं हूं अनुराग मल्होत्रा और आप इस शो को सुन रहे हैं 106.2 बिग एफएम पर। Hope all of you had a great week and were able to absorb or at least get a fair sense of the landmark announcements made by the UAE government concerning the new long-term residency visas, which was covered by me in detail in the last episode. Also, I hope our NRI listeners would have found the interview with the tax expert useful and informative. As you know, News You Can Use is your weekly go-to show, where by just spending 1 hour listening to me every week, you can keep yourself abreast with news and information that is important, useful, relevant and actionable for you. Not only that, every week I interview a top UAE personality, a subject expert, and provide you an opportunity to hear them on subjects of your interest here in the UAE. Like you, we also work very hard every week to identify, collect, select, and collate useful news and information from authentic and credible sources to be able to present it to you at one place for your convenience. While we do our due diligence to put together such information from various authentic and established sources, however, we strongly recommend that you cross-check the news from their respective original sources before taking any action on these. आज के एपिसोड में भी मैं आपके साथ पिछले हफ्ते की इम्पोर्टेंट और रेलेवेंट खबरें शेयर करूंगा, so look out for some important announcements and information on subjects like cost of doing business, license fees, road safety, transportation, tenancy, technology, community, safety, education, law, etc. in today's episode. And as usual, I will introduce you to another important personality. Our special guest today will share his knowledge and views on a very important topic: critical relationship between parents and their teenage children, related to their children's education, career paths, and overall development. So if you are parents of teenage children, I strongly recommend that you listen to my conversation with our education expert later in the show in the interview segment. To know all this and more, please keep it locked to 106.2 Big FM, because when I return after this short break, it will be our first segment, Your Life Made Easy. You're listening to News You Can Use Season 2 with me, Anurag Malhotra, and now it's time for our first segment of today's show, Your Life Made Easy.
Your Life Made Easy.
Let's begin with some good news for new entrepreneurs planning to invest and set up businesses in Abu Dhabi. The Abu Dhabi Airport's free zone has reduced the fees associated with setting up a business by more than 65%. In a move that could ease the cost of doing business in the UAE, the authorities said it is also waiving all license fees for new companies. In addition to reducing setup costs and waiving fees, companies in the free zone will also benefit from tax exemptions. The authority has received a Tawthiq registration exemption as well as an exclusion of VAT in designated zones across its properties for its customers. The authority is equally improving its processes to reduce the registration time, thereby enabling clients to set up at a minimal cost as well as in quick time. Dubai Healthcare City Authority, the governing body of the Dubai Healthcare City, announced revised fees for several of its healthcare commercial, research and education offerings with the objective of facilitating ease of doing business. The initiative is in line with the directives of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President and Prime Minister of the UAE and the ruler of Dubai, to reduce the cost of doing business in Dubai, enhancing economic growth in the Emirate and further cementing the Emirate's position as a destination of choice for investment. Operating permit fees for inpatient and outpatient facilities have also been reduced by up to 30% and 24% respectively, whereas diagnostic centers and medical laboratories will benefit from up to 32% reduction in permit fees. Other segments that will benefit are community pharmacy and non-diagnostic medical laboratories. As part of the directives of the UAE's leadership, fee waivers and reductions have been made to attract investors to the free zone. This era is brimming with young, creative talents who have a real appetite for entrepreneurship. Their drive and ideas are endless. All they need is an enabler that will help introduce their ideas to the market. So Ras Al Khaimah Economic Zone has come up with a platform for them. Now final year students and new graduates will be able to start a business with a business license, a shared workstation and a residency visa with a flat rate that starts at 650 dirhams a month. They can choose from 5 license types: commercial for buying and selling goods and services, educational for setting up an education institution or consultancy, e-commerce for trading goods and services online, media for starting a media-related company, and service license for offering services in any industry. While renting a house, tenants have to deal with many types of documents before moving into a new home. Soon, the cumbersome paperwork will be a thing of the past as more and more companies switch to electronic transactions to reduce paper consumption and speed up processing time. Dubai Asset Management, the owner and manager of a number of residential properties in the Emirate and a member of Dubai Holding, announced that it is rolling out phase 1 of its fully digital and paperless property program in partnership with Smart Dubai. The smart solution allows tenants to do at least 5 essential steps online: find a new home to rent, register and sign the tenancy contract, arrange for Dubai Electricity and Water Authority utility services, sign up for a telecom service, landline, cable TV and home internet with Do, and make maintenance requests. The services can be accessed via Dubai Now, a platform that allows residents to access more than 50 government services, enabling them to manage bills, track visa applications, renew trade licenses, register a car, and a lot more. The rental services are linked to a digital tenancy contract enabled by UAE Pass, making it possible for tenants to receive their Ejari tenancy paper within a few minutes after completing their application online. Next time, while renting a car, do not part with your passport or Emirates ID to the car rental company. Car rental companies in the UAE are not authorized to take a customer's passport or Emirates ID as a guarantee to rent cars. The license of such car rental companies will be permanently cancelled if they indulge in this illegal practice, according to Major General Mohammed Saif Al-Zafin, Director of Federal Traffic Council. The law only permits the company to charge the rent from the credit card of the customer and ask personal information related to his or her driving license only. Dubai has just got a new vehicle testing and registration center which can accommodate about 1800 vehicles per day, with every bay capable of handling 20 vehicles per hour. This new vehicle testing and registration center, located at Al Quoz, Dubai, spans an area of 140,000 square meters, is the largest of its kind in the Emirate. The facilities at the center include services relating to vehicle testing and registration, vehicle insurance, number plates, vehicle testing for export, washing, repair and painting, tire repair, electric and AC repair. The UAE leads the world in terms of internet and smartphone penetration, and this calls for developing a sophisticated digital safety net for our children. The UAE has launched the Child Digital Safety Initiative to raise awareness among children about safe internet use, also familiarizing parents and educators with solutions they can use. The initiative was recently launched on Emirati Children's Day on March 15 as a part of a series of steps to be undertaken to raise digitally literate generations, and is a joint program of the Ministry of Interior and the National Programme for Happiness and Wellbeing. It's now time for a short break, but you keep it locked as coming up will be more useful news and information in this segment. Sunte rahiye 106.2 Big FM.
Your life made easy.
Welcome back, and you're listening to Your Life Made Easy. I'm Anurag Malhotra. Ensuring safety on the road is the mutual responsibility of the drivers, pedestrians, as well as the governing authorities in the country and its cities. However, ensuring safety comes with a set of penalization mechanisms in the form of fines that keep motorists and the residents in check. Some of these fines have been almost or more than doubled in Dubai in the last couple of years. Below is the list of some of the major fines you should be aware of. Driving a vehicle without number plates. From 1,000 dirhams in 2017, it is 3,000 dirhams now. Jumping a red signal by heavy vehicles. From 800 dirhams, now it is 3,000 dirhams. Heavy vehicle not abiding by lane discipline. From 600 dirhams, it's become 1,500 dirhams now. Exceeding maximum speed limit by not more than 60 kilometers per hour. From 900 dirhams, it's become 1,500 dirhams now. not giving way to emergency, police and public service vehicles or official convoys. From 500 dirhams, the fine has gone up to 1000 dirhams. Exceeding permitted level of tinting, from 500 dirhams to 1500 dirhams now. Driving a noisy vehicle, from 500 dirhams to 2000 dirhams now. Driving a vehicle that causes pollution, from 500 dirhams earlier to 1000 dirhams now. Driving with a license issued by a foreign country except in permitted cases, from 400 dirhams to 1000 dirhams now. Driving a vehicle with an expired driving license, from 200 dirhams it's become 500 dirhams now. Driving a vehicle with one number plate, from 200 dirhams earlier, it is now 400 dirhams now. Failure to use indicators when changing directions or turning, from 200 dirhams, it's become double to 400 dirhams now. Pedestrians crossing from undesignated places, from 200 dirhams earlier to 400 dirhams now. Taxis which have designated pickup areas stopping in undesignated areas, from 200 dirhams to 500 dirhams now. So the lesson from this is, please be very careful when you use the road and abide by the traffic laws. Another example on the progressive vision of UAE on raising the security standards within the nation. The Ministry of Interior recently launched a platform that will serve as a one-stop hub where police forces from around the globe can compare performances and best practices. The Undersecretary of the Ministry of Interior introduced the website policeindicators.com as he inaugurated the 12th Best Police Practices Forum and exhibition in Dubai recently. The new website would be collecting performance indicators and statistics from global police authorities. Figures will then be analyzed and will be used to put together a global police competitiveness report, which will be done in cooperation with the Dubai Statistics Center. Among the statistics that will be uploaded to the website are crime rates, road fatalities, sense of safety and security, average emergency response time, ratio of public confidence, and happiness percentage. The best police practices will serve as a reference that can help authorities from all over the world overcome security challenges. It's due to such progressive mindset and adopting of technology that the UAE is ranked as the safest place in the world, as 96.1% of people feel safe to walk outside at night, followed by Singapore, which came second with 94%. Despite the sense of a drop in safety across the world, the UAE has become a safety oasis. According to Director General of Federal Criminal Police at the Ministry of Interior, the crime rate has also reduced in UAE, with the country being lowest on the list in relation to kidnapping and murders and other serious crimes. Social media is an indispensable and integral part of our day-to-day lives. However, beware of criminals and fraudsters promoting their illegal activities in the UAE through paid advertisements on Facebook and Instagram. Examples of this are the get-rich-quick schemes endorsed by unwitting celebrities and online degree firms that sell you fake qualifications and then threaten to expose you unless you part with more cash. These are just some of the scams that people are falling for by trusting these sponsored ads that social media giants are accepting. So please be very careful and wary with such illegally sponsored content. And at the end of this segment, Dubai is about to get its own Hollywood Walk of Fame, but 4 times bigger than the one in Los Angeles. MR has announced Dubai Stars, a Walk of Fame saluting stars and influencers from all over the world. The project will kick off with a global social campaign asking people from all over the world to nominate their favorite celebrities and influencers for the first 400 stars to be featured at Dubai Stars. Dubai Stars will pay tribute to eminent personalities who have positively influenced the world through their work in various fields, including music, film, art, architecture, sports, and literature, as well as social influencers. At its completion, it will have over 10,000 stars, about 4 times the number of stars than the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Dubai Stars is built to become one of the most visited tourist attractions that will appeal to guests from around the world for the diversity of celebrities to be featured. It's time now for a short break, and on my return, it will be our interview segment, where I'll be in conversation with a special guest today. He is an educationist par excellence, and he will share his knowledge and expertise on a very critical subject, the relationship between parents and their teenage children, related to the children's education, career paths, and overall development.
Views, you may use.
Welcome to Views You May Use. I'm Anurag Malhotra and you're listening to me on 106.2 Big FM. The great Nelson Mandela said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." The power of education extends beyond the development of skills we need for economic success. It can contribute to nation building and reconciliation. It is noticed that expat parents and even Emirati parents and their teenage kids are often miles apart in their aspirations and understanding of the future of careers and jobs, which can definitely affect the process of nation building in the long run. To talk to us on this very important subject, I have the pleasure of the company of Dr. Senthil Nathan, an eminent educationist. He's the managing director and co-founder of Edu Alliance Limited and the former deputy vice chancellor, Higher Colleges of Technology, Abu Dhabi, UAE. Dr. Senthil Nathan is also the recipient of the Distinguished Alumni Award from the National Institute of Technology in India from the former President of India, Dr. Abdul Kalam. He has also completed executive education programs from Harvard and MIT. A very warm welcome to you, Dr. Senthil.
I'm very happy to be here, Anurag.
Let's begin with early days. Please tell us briefly about your journey as an educationist.
Sure, I would love to. I'm a late bloomer. I think I was not a great student in high school. And then when I went to college, I went to one of the excellent institutions in India. Now it was called Regional Engineering College, Trichy. Now it's called NIT. And after I finished my bachelor's, I continued with the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. And then I tried to go into engineering consulting work. I was a top student in IISc, and then I got a banking job. Finally, when I got a call from my NIT Trichy to come and teach, I went, and on day one, I fell in love with teaching profession. I knew that was my calling. Thankfully, I got a fellowship in the US. I went on to do PhD, and again, after I completed my PhD, I worked in the industry. I designed buildings and so on for about 6 years. So when I ended up in Abu Dhabi, after all that, Higher Colleges of Technology was at the building stage. I was part of a Canadian company that set up higher colleges. It was a vision of His Highness Sheikh Zayed at that time to build an institution for practical careers for Emiratis. So when we started, it was a very small setup, and I grew with the leadership and began to build this up. About 24 years I was with the higher colleges. I grew, and last 8 years as a deputy vice chancellor. So I was happy to see many Emirati students of mine taking on leadership roles in the country today, even in ministries. So that's a very fulfilling journey. And on the other side of that, even though I've been working with Emirati students, the last 15 years I've been working with school kids, more on as a CSR on my own time, parents and the high school children, primarily with the expat parents and children, for a different reason. And so that's basically, that passion is why I'm here today to talk to you.
Well, you had a long journey, and as you mentioned, you've traveled a lot of paths to find your calling, and today education is something which is of prime interest to you, and you're also doing CSR and giving it back to the society. So to begin with, there is this perpetual tug of war between parents and their teenage children regarding the choice of career paths, different schools of thought, each expecting the other to understand. So with a focus on UAE, my question to you is, are expat parents in the right place to counsel, guide and cajole their teenagers to pursue the right course of studies and career path?
Most of them are not. I will explain a little bit. Even in any other country, let's say in India, the parents and teenage children are always generations apart. And when I was young, my parents did not really know what I was doing. So that is a perennial problem. But what makes it much worse and acute here is parents as expats they have a different dream. When they moved from wherever they are, their home country to here, they had a dream, they pursued it. And their memories of what careers were and what struggles they went through is very different from the children who are born here, brought up in the UAE. That's a second big difference. So that generation gap is really accentuated with expat parents. The third issue that even makes it worse is currently with this the digital divide, with what our kids are learning through internet, through social media, is much more than what parents are learning about what's going to happen. And with the AI and robotics age that's coming up, I think our children really understand what's going much more than we do. So traditional parents who are doing traditional job, they are often unable to understand the aspirations of our young kids. So that's why it's extremely critical that parents understand what's going to happen as much as probably more than the kids have to.
Do you also think it is also because of the paucity of time the parents have, especially most of the expats have full-fledged jobs or they're involved in their businesses, majority in the job market, in the job sector. So there's very little time to actually spend with the kids?
Spending time is one issue, but understanding careers and what the kids need, I think that's the biggest investment you can make for your children. Because all the expat parents want the best for the kids. They work hard, they save money, they sacrifice, all that stuff. But if they can spend a few hours, especially when the kid gets to grade 9, I believe that's probably the most important time. That parents take time to understand what kind of careers, what kind of program choices, what is the aspiration of the child, rather than having their own dreams and stereotypes in the head. And what I have found is most parents, they don't quite talk and communicate with the kids. They think they are children. They talk to their professional colleagues, they talk to everybody else, relatives back home, about the future of the child, but they don't necessarily talk to the child. And that's where the communication gap starts.
So one is about spending some quality time with your children. But how do the parents ascertain the quality of the interaction? Because as we spoke, parents are coming with this burden or a backlog of fixed ideas through customization, which they've gone through. Now to talk to this Gen Z kids or their children, how do they communicate?
I think that's an excellent question. Even before they communicate, I always tell the expat parents when I counsel them with the kids, I want them to understand your children are not necessarily going back home. They are global citizens.
Right.
You have to get it in your head. Just understand. It's, many parents want them to get rooted in their own culture. Let's say India, they want them to go to India and learn culture and so on. So they have their own idea. The first thing before we start communicating, and the communication often with parents is one way. They tell the students, you get it, look, be serious, you want to be you want to do gaming or whatever, that's not going to happen. I want you to become an accountant or an engineer or a doctor. So that's not communication. That's just a one-way conversation. So my first advice is to get your head straight to the parent, and secondly, listen. Even if you think your kids are not making sense, just listen and go do your own Google. What they are saying, does it make sense?
So according to you, it's very important for the parents to befriend their children.
Yeah.
I think this trust needs to be built between a parent and especially a teenage child when, there are so many changes happening with the children.
Yeah.
We'll take a short break here, but my conversation will continue with Dr. Senthil Nathan after this break.
Views you may use.
It's great to have you back to Views You May Use. I'm with Dr. Senthil Nathan and we're talking about education and career for teenage children. A thought comes to me when I also look around today, the young people here. The new generation wants to be completely hands-free. They are travelers. They're not interested in acquiring fixed assets such as a house, which our generation has always, thought of as a very wise decision, create assets and property for, the future. They are happy with the Airbnbs. They don't want to buy cars. They're okay with a Uber or a Careem. They just want to pack their bags and travel wherever they want. They just want to be free. So talking to this mindset, how, in your opinion, can parents absorb this and curate their thought process to deal with this?
Yeah, I mean, I talk to them more, not as a big academic or whatever. I talk to them as fellow parents. Both my kids were born here. So that's my experience of bringing them up, having this conversation. When my first child, my daughter, was in grade 9, and as girls, we think of, I lived in the US many years, but I never thought a young girl can live alone there.
Right.
And when she was, I think she was 13 or 13, I think, when she was in grade 9, she said, "Dad, I'm going to do my bachelor's in the US." I told her, "Joanna, that's not going to work. I want you to do bachelor." No. That's and that was the end of the conversation as far as she was concerned.
Right.
So I thought I will give her a challenge, all this stuff. But she was very fixed what she wanted to do, and this is what I shared with my fellow parents. So I listened, and it took us a year for me and my wife to absorb this, that we are going to lose our daughter at the age of 17, and she is going to go live alone in the US. So we had to change our mindset, not her. But then I started challenging her and things like that. She met every challenge. And I can tell you, as a proud dad, at the age of 21, before I started a company, she started a company in the US. And she got 2 degrees at the age of 21. That kind of opportunity, that's what I want for every child, to go after their dreams. And the parents actually facilitating rather than saying some stupid stuff, it's not going to work and all this stuff. Encourage. That's on one side. The other side is always there are some who do pipe dreaming. Even my daughter, when she was in grade 7 or 8, she wanted to be an archaeologist or a movie maker. I said, this is going to work only in Indiana Jones movies. You're going to do both.
Right.
And my wife was really worried. So I got her inspired by nanotechnology, some of the things I saw in Switzerland. Right. I got her exposed. So as a parent, you can gently inspire them, but you cannot dictate terms.
So you are a very aware parent, and from the industry and education is something been very close. So probably for you, it was relatively simpler to come to terms, see the macro advantages, than getting into, a confrontation. So what should parents of today do to better acquaint and prepare themselves while dealing with their teenage children?
A very good question. What I do, I'll explain what I do. When they come to talk to me, and I just listen for half an hour, and usually both of them are quite clueless. Then parents and the kids, they don't know what they're
normally
going to do.
You have these sessions with parents and kids together?
Together, always together, never alone.
Oh, it's not one-on-one separately?
No, never alone.
I see.
And that's my condition. If they only parents come, I don't talk to them. Because there's always a miscommunication. This is what you want to fix.
Right.
And after that first conversation, I give them an access to a link, and which I'd be glad to send it to you, and you can put it on your website.
Sure.
It's a very simple 5-minute aptitude test from the US. It's nothing to do with me, but I found it work. Basically, I asked the kids to go through that and look at the results and see what they think. This aptitude test doesn't ask you whether you want to be an engineer or a doctor. It just talks about what kind of things you want to do in life.
Right.
And from that, they figure out psychologically, you have 70% aspiration, you can succeed in this kind of profession and so on. Most kids get surprised because they know that's what they are, but they never connected it with the career. And this is what it says. And then I asked them to come back and say, look, this is what it says. And if you are as a kid, and I tell the parents also, if they are going after their passion, no matter what it is, they're going to be successful.
True.
If it's going to be history or economics or whatever it is, and that's you have to allow them. If they have very little passion towards medicine, don't push them into, they're going to be mediocre doctors. So that conversation starts. The second question is then, if this is what you want to do, where do you want to study? That's That's a question for those who are living here.
Right.
They have the world as an option. They can send them back home. They can make them study here. There are 100 universities right in UAE. They send them to West, East, Australia, So that's the next level of question. And then the financial question comes. So I tell them this is a reality. You guys have to have a chat.
Right.
What is the budget? You have to be realistic. You tell your children, this is what I can afford, and you go through that conversation. So that's the third, fourth level, and I let them discuss that. Obviously, I don't want to get into finance issues,
right?
And they have to agree to this.
Wonderful. At the end, if you were to give a piece of advice to both parents and children, what would it be?
To parents, learn and then listen. Learn yourself outside. Google, everything is available. Listen to your kid. To students, I would say the same thing. Learn and listen. You have adrenaline flowing, you have friends telling many things.
Right.
You have peer pressure, but that's not learning. So you learn yourself what's going on. And also listen not just to your friends, but also to your parents and other professionals who are working in the area. And that listening can happen in chat or in Google, or you can listen to TED Talk and things like that.
Right.
There's a whole lot of resources you have in front of you, rather than wasting your time on just chit-chatting on WhatsApp with your friends.
And a follow-up question, who do you think the onus is on more between the parent and the child to create this communication channel of listening, learning?
I would say 50-50, but it's a lot more on the child, because it's going to be children's future. If I am a child, I have to initiate. Otherwise, I'm going just nodding my head to my parent and end up in a disastrous career. I have to suffer the rest of my life. So my advice is to teens, keep trying, keep talking, don't give up, keep educating your parents, but keep learning as well.
Thank you very much, Dr. Senthilnathan, for coming to our studio and sharing a wealth of knowledge with our listeners. And I'm sure that especially the parents of teenage, college-ready children are listening in to this show and would reconsider their rigid positions vis-a-vis their children and allow them to be and support them to blossom into great professionals and, more importantly, great human beings.
Thank you, Anurag. I wish you well, and I wish the parents well.
Thank you very much. I need to slip into a short break here, but you don't go anywhere, as I'll be back with news and information for our South Asian listeners in the Expat Roundup. So just keep it locked to 106.2 Big FM. Welcome back. I'm Anurag Malhotra, and now it's time for a special segment specifically for our South Asian expat listeners.
Expat Roundup.
The eyes of all NRIs here in UAE will be on the forthcoming general elections in India to be held in April and May, as the outcome of these crucial elections will determine the course of further economic reforms in India that will pave the way for the 8% GDP growth in the years to come. Investment in infrastructure development and the anticipated record remittances from NRIs will accelerate India's GDP and put the economy on the road to success. They have also prioritized investment options for NRIs that include real estate, bank deposits, mutual funds, insurance, gold, stocks and other alternative investments. The World Bank's latest Migration and Development Report puts India as the largest recipient of remittances in 2018, estimated at $79.5 billion, ahead of China's $67.4 billion, accounting for over 3/5 of the officially recorded remittance flows to South Asia. India's economy is poised to pick up in 2019, benefiting from lower oil prices and slower pace of monetary tightening than previously expected as inflation pressures ease. For those of you interested in the history of UAE and India, there is a unique opportunity as the Zayed Gandhi Digital Museum at Manarat Al Sadiyat in Abu Dhabi was opened to the public some time back. The museum commemorates the 100th birth anniversary of Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan and the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. The museum's interactive digital content is showcasing rare photos, videos, and objects representing the life, works, and philosophies of both renowned leaders using cutting-edge technologies. Dubai's Beit Al Khair Society has announced a grand package for expats this Ramadan. The charity organization is set to spend 100 million dirhams on vulnerable people of foreign nationalities as part of its new 3-month campaign for the holy month of Ramadan this year. The drive, which is themed "And Do Good That You May Succeed," aims to reach out to thousands of low-income families and vulnerable people nationwide in the year of tolerance. The society is to run an array of charity programs and projects to meet the needs of eligible families, improve their standards of living, and bring them happiness. The society, in view of the Year of Tolerance, is to give more attention to all nationalities with a number of initiatives aimed to bring them happiness as urged in Islam. Abu Dhabi Airport has announced a special service for passengers travelling by various Indian airline carriers from UAE. Indigo travellers can now remotely check in their luggage via the City Terminal check-in service, allowing them to avoid the hassle at the airport. The service, which started on March 10th, needs to be availed 24 hours before the time of the flight. Other Indian-based airlines on the list include Air India Express and Jet Airways. Now for some news for our Pakistani expats. A Dubai-based Pakistani expat is set to receive one of Pakistan's top civilian honours on 23rd of March. Pakistan's singing legend Sajad Ali's name was announced earlier by the government as one of the 127 people who will be receiving civil awards on Pakistan Day, which is celebrated on March 23rd. The awards will be presented by President Dr. Arif Alvi to the artists and other public figures for their excellence in different fields. यहाँ पर हमें लेना होगा एक छोटा सा ब्रेक और मेरी वापसी पर it will be our last segment of today's show, Between Us. तो सुनते रहिए 106.2 Big FM.
Between Us.
Let's begin with some light-hearted news that may amuse. A father in southwest China has trained a pet dog to keep a watch on his daughter to refrain her from getting distracted while doing her homework. The father teamed up with their pet mongrel after he noticed his daughter was not able to concentrate and kept fiddling with her phone while writing homework. In an adorable video, the cream-colored dog is seen standing on its hind legs, strictly supervising the schoolgirl. The father added that he has been training their pet dog since it was young, so that it would then guard her and make sure she doesn't reach out for her phone. So parents in UAE, instead of getting spy cams to keep a tab on your kids, get a dog instead. They are, after all, a man's best friend. Ever wondered how much would the world's most expensive perfume cost? Any guesses? Well, a perfumer in the UAE has just developed a new fragrance in a bottle called Shumuk. And it comes with a whopping price tag of approximately 4.8 million dirhams. The luxurious perfume bottle stands 1.97 meters tall, and it took over 3 years and 494 perfume trials to formulate. Shumuk is comprised of the finest natural ingredients sourced from the furthest corners of the globe, and the aroma is estimated to last on the skin for more than 12 hours and up to 30 days on fabric. It is set with over 3,500 sparkling diamonds, totaling 38.55 carats, as well as topaz, pearls, 18-carat gold weighing more than 2 kilos, and more than 5 kilos of pure silver. And even if you have the wealth to acquire it, you cannot buy it off the shelf, but have to wait for 6 months. Children running a UAE airport. Sounds odd? But a few children were given the special opportunity to get a hands-on experience of working at an airport, since they plan to work at an airport in the future. On the occasion of Emirati Children's Day on March 15th, Sharjah Airport gave select boys and girls a chance to run the airport. According to a video posted by authorities, Sharjah Airport allowed the children who want to work at the airport when they grow up to practically explore the jobs. The children worked as co-pilots, flight attendants, air traffic controllers, security personnel, and ground staff. Smartly dressed in their respective uniforms, the children got a unique, real-life experience of what it is to be like in a plane's cockpit, in an air traffic control tower, on the tarmac, and at various security checkpoints at the airport. Senior staffers supervised the children as they explored the various jobs at the airport. आज के शो को समाप्त करने का वक्त हो रहा है, पर हमारी मुलाकात फिर होगी अगले हफ्ते आज ही के दिन और आज ही के समय. So don't forget to tune in for your weekly dose of news you can use every Thursday 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. and repeat on Saturday at the same time. Meanwhile, please keep writing into us and sharing your comments and suggestions on how we can make this show even better for you. You can reach us on all the Big FM social media handles. Just type NYCU and your comments and suggestions. आप अपना मैसेज हमें WhatsApp भी कर सकते हैं on 054-309-1062. And for those of you who are not on the road during the broadcast of the show, just download the 106.2 Big FM app and listen to the show from the comfort of your home or office. Time for me to sign off now with this short yet very meaningful positive quote. Live beyond what if and find joy in what is. Enjoy the present, keep laughing, keep smiling, and don't worry, be happy.